defensive focus led to enthusiasm. It led to energy. The defense sparking the offense. The defense sparking the smiles. That's what Louisville loves to see. The only difference is they need it for a full 40 minutes tonight.
He was certainly the #1 man as they beat Georgia Tech 84-74 last night. Roller coaster season for the senior, but he seems locked in at the moment, and we are set to go as Virginia wins the opening tip. And the Cardinals coming in at 13-18. Virginia 18-12, including 2 wins over the Ville, 1 in January and 1 just 4 days ago. And a rebound will be picked off by Noah Locke, and here come the Cardinals looking for a fast strike on the other end. Curry will kick it out. Sidney Curry. He's 6'8" junior, and he can be an awful lot to handle in that paint.
And he was a lot for Virginia to handle the last time they played. 24 points and 14 rebounds for Curry, and they will be looking to get that matchup going for him early in this game.
Point guard Jared West on the move. Shot clock is down to 3. He'll step back and pop it. And Williams had to go off his hand and out of play. So back over the Cavaliers of Tony Bennett. Clark, Gardner, Beekman, Franklin, and Shedrick. Those are your starters for Virginia.
And Caden Shedrick getting back into the starting lineup after Francisco Cafaro started the last 14 games for Virginia. So to switch up for Tony Bennett at the center spot.
Kihei Clark running the point. 10 points, about 4 assists a game. He was all ACC honorable mention. Gardner looking for help. Shot clock down to 5. Beekman in the lane. Tried to bank it in. That won't drop.
And Reese Beekman didn't go to the basket with intent on scoring. He was looking to pass it off. He's a much better player when he's aggressive looking to score.
Locke, Williams, Faulkner, West, and Curry, the starters for the Cardinals. They are the 11 seed. Virginia #6. That one swung to Locke. He hits 34% beyond the 3-point line. Can't make that one.
And that's going to be important for Louisville in this game. How Sidney Curry handles the post trap. When you put up those type of numbers against Virginia, Tony Bennett is going to trap you the next time out. A great delivery out of the trap on that possession.
Corey, what a finish in the game we just saw.
It absolutely was a great finish. Darius Maddox coming up with the big bucket to get Virginia Tech a win and allowing them to survive and advance in the ACC Tournament and keep their NCAA tournament hopes alive.
Recently did it against Miami, too. He's becoming Mr. Clutch for the Hokies. So they move on. That pass is tipped and hauled in by Virginia. And a lot of Virginia's season looks the same as always under Tony Bennett. Some of the numbers don't, but they do rank 8th nationally in fewest turnovers. They only allow 60 points a game. Those are standard numbers for a Tony Bennett team, and they don't foul.
But they forced turnovers with that post trap, and they came away with one on the last possession, unable to take advantage of it and put points on the board after.
Curry back out for Williams, 3-time team captain. Curry low and gets it to go, and a foul by Shedrick as well, and that'll put him to the line. Curry to shoot.
But a great job by Sidney Curry relocating and getting himself into position where the trap cannot get to him. Going underneath through the contact and then finish. You see Jayden Gardner trying to get over to get there for the trap. But Sidney Curry was already into his move at that point.
Shedrick actually one of the better shot blockers in the conference, but commits a foul here. Curry has trouble at the line. He only makes 50% because too many wind up like that.
And you're talking about a young man who's averaged 20 points per game over his last 4 games. Imagine if he's making free throws, those numbers come up quite a bit.
Clark can certainly be a factor offensively at 25 against Duke a couple of weeks ago. Franklin. From the top of the key, it's stuck on the iron and tipped up and in. Nicely done by Cafaro.
And a great job by Cafaro coming from distance to tap that one in, but more importantly, the timing to make sure it comes off the rim before touching the basketball.
What kind of game are you expecting here, points-wise? What range is it going to be in?
I think we may see the 60s, but it's going to be a slugfest between these two teams. Virginia is going to make sure Louisville spends its time working for everything, both on the offensive and defensive end of the floor.
Out high for West. He'll swing it. They want Williams. No. Malik Williams can't knock that one down. He's the #5 rebounder in the ACC. at 14 and 10 against NC State in round one. Clark on the spin.
Great matchup between these 2 point guards. Jared West, one of the very few that can compete with Kihei Clark defensively.
Faulkner launching right away. Mason Faulkner, but a miss. Clark got airborne, back for Caparo. The 7'1" junior from Argentina. And Clark again mishandling that. They're all over him. Quick dish for Faulkner. He'll lay it up and in.
And that's back-to-back turnovers for Virginia. And right now, Tony Bennett not happy with what he's seeing on the offensive execution. And we talked about this in the first game. In my opinion, it's always an advantage for the team that's played the day before. Coming out, the jitters out, you've already played on this court. It gives just a slight advantage.
Gardner trying to get in close. Here's Clark to line up a long one. That won't drop. Does make 37% there. Locke with a 3. And either side lighting it up in his first 5 minutes.
Yeah, 2 good looks for Noah Locke early, unable to knock him down. Made 4 threes last night.
Baking, a 6'3" sophomore, gave it up. Another 3 off target here by Franklin. Louisville losing both meetings in Charlottesville and in Louisville. Relatively close games. Here's a whistle and an offensive. They'll get Faulkner for that one. Slow start for these two. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life, helping people act on their love for over 175 years.
Respect to Jim Boeheim and Leonard Hamilton, but Tony Bennett's program has won more over the past 10 years than any ACC program.
Tony, of course, winning the national title, came on board in 09 at Virginia. A decade later, won it all. His point guard, Kihei Clark, on the money. He'll knock that one down to tie it at 4.
And when Kihei Clark and Reese Beekman come into a game with an aggressive mindset that they're going to look to score, this Virginia team is different. They need the scoring from the perimeter from these 2 guys to be able to compete.
Williams fires it. Too strong. It's been a newsworthy day here in Brooklyn at this arena. Syracuse blew FSU away today, 96-57. The Orange will play #1 seed Duke at noon tomorrow. Dan Shulman, Jay Billis, and Holly Rowe will have a call of that one. Beekman going airborne. In that game, the star of the Orange, Buddy Boeheim, threw a punch, and he is suspended for that game. He will not play against Duke, as that one is absolutely buried by Jared West. And then later in the day, actually early evening, Buddy issued a very classy apology addressing that. Said that'll never happen again. You'll never see that again.
We absolutely won't see it tomorrow because Buddy will not be lined up against the Blue Devils after the 1-game suspension from the ACC. And appreciative of Buddy taking responsibility for his actions and being accountable.
Gardner can't get the roll. Number 13 seed Boston College upset the number 5 seed Wake Forest 82-77 to win their 2nd game here in Brooklyn. They face number 4 Miami in the quarterfinals, 2:30 tomorrow on ESPN. And then an absolute thriller right on this floor. Locke with a misfire here as Virginia Tech won at the buzzer in overtime over Clemson. And they have Notre Dame coming up next. And a whistle has stopped the clock. 12:28 to play in the first half. And the winner of this one gets the number 3 seed North Carolina at 9:30 tomorrow night in the quarterfinals. Now Mike Franklin checking back in, the junior out of Indianapolis. And Gardner to the bench. And Dre Davis coming into the ball game, the 6'6" sophomore for the Cardinals.
And Dre Davis actually did not play yesterday in the win for Louisville over Georgia Tech. Talked with Coach Mike McGee's earlier. He said Dre turned his ankle in practice, didn't feel like he would be at his best in that game yesterday, so decided not to play him. But you see Dre, an important member of this team, making his debut here tonight.
The far offset screen. Here's Clark's jumper. Not there for him. So it's Louisville by 3 and the basketball. And here's Davis with it. He's also out of Indianapolis. Nice spin here. Lays it in.
Louisville will often play through Dre Davis in the post area. You see Davis running back down the floor. He does have a bit of a limp, but he's confident enough to know that he can take his man into the post and do damage.
He can do damage. He had 16 against Duke, 18 against Miami. Bigman bouncing inside, and Williams swats him out of play. 11:41 to go in the half.
And Dre Davis checking in with an aggressive mindset, backing down Armand Franklin, going into the spin cycle. The left hand
is inside the play.
Well, it's always difficult to defend when the ball changes sides of the floor, and you see the ball swings around. Multiple passes to allow Sidney Curry to get into a great spot to receive, but more importantly, go quickly before the double team of Jayden Gardner could get there. And of course, Virginia, a great defensive team, but a great offensive play by Louisville.
Corey, you know, you mentioned go quickly, and I talked to the Louisville coaches about their offense, and they stressed the offense being precise and also timing and everybody being connected. And I know you know as a guard sometimes you catch the ball on the perimeter and you're thinking about yourself. You forget that the play is being ran for someone else, but that play for Louisville, everybody was connected, timing was perfect.
Dre, I think you forgot who you were talking to. The play was always being run for me.
You thought the play was always being run for you.
Coach, what do you mean that wasn't my shot?
Yeah, what do you mean the play wasn't for me?
Goodness gracious. 9-4 the Bill. And Virginia checked it in. 20 seconds up on the shot clock again. And knocked out of play. Tight defense by Dre Davis.
But we've seen, and of course, it's been one game in 8.5 minutes of this one, but we've seen a different Louisville team. This is not the Louisville team we watched coming down the stretch in ACC play. For Virginia fans tuning in, this is not the same team that they watched on Saturday when Louisville lost to Virginia at KFC Young Center. This team is playing with a different level of intensity and a sense of desperation.
Clock shot won't go. He grabs his own miss. Here's Franklin slithering in. No. And the Louisville defense has been rock solid. Gardner with a shot, and that goes off the iron. Well, it really feels like the Cardinals have taken to heart what Mike McGee told them coming into Brooklyn. He said everybody here is 0-0, and so are we.
They really have, and more importantly, he's playing guys. He's shortened the rotation, but he's playing guys who feel like have that sense of desperation, and they do not want their season to end. When you consider they're not a 500 basketball team, this will not be an NIT team if they don't win the ACC tournament. They won't play anymore.
Again, the winner will take on a 3-seed North Carolina. We'll have the game at 9:30 tomorrow night. Getting into the quarterfinals of the ACC tournament. Virginia is 2 for 17 shooting the basketball early on.
We talked about the advantage of having seen this building before, having seen these rims. The last time that Virginia was in the Barclays Center, they won the ACC tournament in 2018, but they haven't seen it this season.
Hey, the Nothing But Net crew will be back tonight at 11:30 Eastern to break down all 4 second-round games. They've got post-game interviews coming your way, plus a look ahead at tomorrow's quarterfinals on the ACC Network and the ESPN app.
Obi, we had a party back in the back between games. The whole crew's back there. Booze is in the back. Of course, you got Kelsey, Luke, Joe. Even EJ Manuel was in the building today.
No kidding.
Yeah, he's not working, just hanging out.
So you didn't say we had booze in the back. That's not what you said. Shot clock is down to 3.
Well, I did say a party. You can't have a party without booze.
Williamson on the run out will slam that down. And the Cardinals continue to look sharp. On top, 11-4. Here's Bigman. Just nothing falling for the Cavaliers.
And right now, Virginia out of sync offensively, but one thing for certain, and Tony Bennett knows this very well, continue to plug away. Louisville will give you your opportunities to to be able to get back into the game, just try to find a way to come up with some stops.
Curry trying to get free of a double and makes the shot. He got the roll.
I tell you what, Caden Shedrick is one of the best athletes in the ACC. Jayden Gardner is a very strong guy, but they look outmatched right there. Sidney Curry just took the basketball away from them and still got a bucket.
Over 5 minutes of scoreless basketball for Virginia. A 9-0 run for Louisville. Gardner, typically the answer offensively. He drops in 2. He has scored over 2,000 points in his career.
Yeah, he's been the most offensively consistent player for Virginia this year. Curry picks up his second foul on the moving screen, but Curry doing work on the block. You see, gathering the basketball, the rip through, and then the spin. Not to be deterred by Jayden Gardner, who has both hands on the basketball, still getting his shot off and getting a bucket.
Curry, as you mentioned, number 2, his second foul, so he's going to have to leave the proceedings.
And that's great news for Virginia. The only thing really slowing him down, we mentioned his numbers, 24 and 14 against the Hoos on Saturday. And it's rare that you see a big man put up that type of numbers against Virginia.
Clark directing traffic, the senior out of Woodland Hills, California. Franklin. They want Gardner again on the spin. Beautiful move, couldn't finish it, and a whistle before the follow-up on it. But Smith, Lee Cassell, and Clarence Armstrong, the officials here for the finale tonight. That'll be Williams' first personal.
And I believe this is how Virginia's going to have to play offense. They're going to have to go through Jayden Gardner, allow him to take advantage of his mismatch, because he can take smaller players into the post, and he can take bigger players off the bounce.
Noah Locke back on now for the Cardinals. Gardner, another one coming. Very good foul shooter. He makes 81%. All ACC 13. They had 21 in their victory over an excellent Providence College team back in November. But right now they're 18 and 12. They're 12 and 8 in conference play.
But when you look at the fact that Virginia is 12 and 8 in conference, and that's a bad year, that tells you the level of excellence that Tony Bennett has brought to Charlottesville and the expectations of this program. When in a bad year, you win 12 ACC games.
Right now, Joe Lunardi has Virginia on the outside looking in for the NCAA tournament. That's as of this moment. Shot clock's going to expire. Louisville taking too much time there, and we'll turn it over.
And even the crowd here at Barclays Center, the Virginia followers recognize the shot clock violation, the most popular play at UVA. Telling his team, that's my fault, that's on me, that's a scouting report error, whatever it may be, but taking the onus upon himself and letting his players know everything is good, he takes responsibility for whatever mistake is made.
Cardinals were 5-1 when he filled in for the suspended Chris Mack back in November, but they have scuffled to win since he became the interim coach at the end of January. And it's a major question, of course, for a blue blood school like Louisville. Everyone wants to know who's going to be the new head coach.
Well, I mean, of course, there are a lot of different opinions on that. I honestly feel as though Louisville, as soon as Chris Mack, they parted ways, they should have given Mike Pegues that job, allowing him to take it over in a full-time capacity. But what do I know? You got an interim president, an interim athletic director. You may as well step up and give this coach the job.
Shot clock down to 8. Up top for Beekman. They continue to pass it around. Gardner on the spin. Yes. Over the run on the shot clock.
That was nice. That's almost a dream shake right there, Obi. The fake one-way comeback, the turnaround jumper, and the Virginia needs to continue to play through Jayden Gardner, allowing him to get his touches and his opportunities on the block.
Hit some big games. 26 against Georgia Tech, 23 against Miami. 23 on the Tigers of Clemson. Strong drive all the way in for Samuel Williamson.
And that's what Sam Williamson is at his best. Coming off curls, attacking, getting downhill, and really using his athleticism, playing the 4 position, making Gardner have to chase him.
Kihei Clark looking for the baseline. And batted away by Williams, who always seems to be right there. Get back to that sweet move.
This is next level right here, Obi. You see the fake, the great footwork, the fall away, the touch. You get everything you're looking for in that possession from Jayden Gardner. It looks even better in slow-mo.
3 to get off the shot here. Poindexter sticks it. Second time down in a row. That shot clock is down to nothing.
And Malachi Poindexter stepping up, a walk-on, giving great minutes for Virginia's played in now their last 8 games, and really becoming a staple in this lineup, giving them some depth in the backcourt.
Yeah, Virginia beginning to find their range. They started the game 2 for 18. They're 3 for 3 since then. Too strong by Noah Locke. 1 and done. Cavaliers right back at it. And they'll cut that lead down to 4. Did we tell you we thought this was going to be a very low-scoring game? Clark in the lane will draw the foul in the act of shooting. So Kihei, the senior, to the line where he is 80%.
Louisville foul number 13, Terrence West's second personal foul, team 6.
Neither of these coaches are concerned about the final score except for who has at least 1 more point. They don't care if it's in 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever it may be. As long as they have 1 more point than the opponent, they'll take it.
Clark with the misfire. West picked up his second foul on that. So he is going to step out, the point guard for the Cardinals.
And maybe I'm going off the top of the dome here, but I believe Virginia in this building held Rutgers to 26 points a few years ago. I got to look that one up. But it was something like that. It was like an all-time low for, I think, Rutgers in this building. And so Virginia doesn't care how many points are scored in the game. As long as they have 1 more and get a win, that's all they're concerned about.
When you say off the top, you mean off the top of your head. You're never wrong about that. Nice hook there by Williams for 2.
Well, I'm in the house that Biggie built. You know what I'm saying? 25 years to the day that we lost the notorious B.I.G. And, of course, Biggie used to always go off the top of the dome and get writers' rhymes down. So, therefore, I got to honor the greatest of all time here in this building.
I'm honored to sit next to you. I get so much knowledge out of you. Clark with a determined drive. Yes, he spun it in.
Great take by Kihei Clark, and more importantly, aggressively driving to score, not looking to pass.
We checked it. You're exactly right. It was 26 points, Rutgers.
Yeah, I knew I was right. I was just trying to make you guys do some extra work.
You're bad. November 29th and 14th. On the drive, and Louisville wants the basket. They're not getting that. A foul on the play, but no basket with 4:26 to go in the half.
March 9th, 1997, we lost the notorious B.I.G. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. And Virginia's been able to do that in this building. 2018 won an ACC tournament title in this building, and right now they're looking to do the same here this time around to advance their NCAA tournament championship.
Samuel Williamson makes the first. Only 57% at the foul line. Louisville with nobody averaging better than about 10 points a game. And they really don't have that big-time leader offensively, that go-to guy. Been a major problem for them this season, but they're trying to make noise in this tournament, looking for their second win here.
Well, right now, Virginia's starting to develop something on the offensive end of the floor, and you see picking up and building confidence, and it's often difficult for teams that haven't played to do that early. Virginia finding it now through Kihei Clark.
Can't connect, though. In transition, Ellis off to Davis. Williams will swing it. Here's Faulkner by his man. Williams with a 3, and too strong. Gateman, such a great defender, one of the top defensive players in the college game. 62 steals this season. That'll go the other way with 3:36 to play. And a 4-point lead for the Cardinals. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal.
I thought you were going to give us a verse there in honor of B.I.G. Hypnotize me.
I thought about it down, and I thought about dropping a couple bars here, but I decided that they're not ready.
They're not ready.
No, you can't say there. You got to say they. They're not ready. They're not ready for that.
All right.
We're in Brooklyn, Obi.
I hear you. And we have enjoyed our stay here, and there's been some great basketball. Although neither side here tonight lighting it up offensively. Had a couple of overtime games, couple of thrillers on this floor this afternoon and this evening.
And we got to ask if these two teams are ready. Only 32 combined points between the two of them in this game.
Malik Williams will switch in two. Trying to answer you there, 20-14.
Well, right now, Louisville has just as many points in the paint as Virginia has points. It's 14-14 tie. In the game matchup on Saturday, it was a 28-28 tie between that. But right now, Louisville getting it done outside the paint as well to give them a lead.
Gardner trying that glass, and that's effective. East Carolina transfer. As mentioned, he has scored about 2,000 points in his career. All ACC third team this season for Virginia. Downstairs, yeah, they found Williamson, an easy dunk.
But that's the post track. But when you consider the fact that you're now putting a guard and Dre Davis in the post, that brings a different dilemma to Virginia. How do you trap? And you see a mix-up defensively in the rotations right there, giving up the easy bucket.
Clark, and an offensive foul on Kihei Clark. 2:19 left in the half.
Kihei Clark. His first personal foul, team's captain.
And Dre talked to us about the fact that Mike McGee's and how his team had become connected really in the span since that loss for Virginia. And you see the entire team up cheering each other on. Another nice find from Dre Davis out of the trap.
Ellis got a good look, couldn't bury it though.
Had a great look, and you're talking about a young man that can get hot quickly, and Ellis.
Yeah, Ellis at 25 against North Carolina in a, let's say, spirited overtime loss to the Tar Heels. You and I had that game February 1st at KFC Young Center. That got wild. Clark, yes. Kihei Clark for two.
Well, that game did get wild, and it was physical, and Kihei Clark taking on the physicality in the painted area, once again going to score.
Davis on a double team, but Beekman read that perfectly. Picks it and lays it up and in, and a foul on the play. Bruce Beekman doing it all there for the Cavaliers.
Well, the ACC steals leader getting in the passing lane, coming up with the basketball version of a pick six. Great anticipation by Beekman. The nice handles to get around Faulkner, and then the finish and an opportunity for the and one.
Faulkner's second foul.
One thing that's the most impressive, Corey, with Reese Beekman is look at his shoes. He doesn't tie his shoes tight at all. He says, my shoes cannot be tight. I need them loose. That's when I play my best. But how are you that fast with your shoes that loose?
Dre, I would like to be able to answer that question, but very few do I not have an answer to.
How does Reese Beekman play the way he does with loose shoes? And I'll even add to it, how did you play with your shoes?
Well, I tell you, my shoes were nowhere near as loose as Reese Beekman's are right now, but I also broke my ankle twice in college, so maybe I should have loosened my shoes a little bit. And, oh, you see how I still avoided Dre's question?
Yeah, it was very slick. I've come to know you as that guy. Very well done. But 2 times you broke an ankle in college?
Twice. Twice at Virginia. First game of the season in my first junior year, and 19 games into my second junior year, and decided college was no longer for me. It was time to go to the NBA.
Bad luck there. Williams with a shot clock down to 7. He's going to fall away, and that jumper won't drop. Cafaro with the rebound. And Virginia, despite shooting horrendously early in the game, is down only 2.
And they've been able to rely on their defense, coming up with timely stops here. Now an opportunity to tie this basketball game or take the lead as we get closer to the halftime buzzer.
Kihei Clark. Beekman. 6 to shoot. Gardner gives it up for Clark. He looks at the clock. Down to 1. Can't bury that. But a whistle. And a foul with 28.6 to go against Virginia. And against Gardner.
You can see the Virginia contingent here at Barclays Center does not like the call. But oftentimes, if there are 2 hands in the back, it's an automatic.
And Tony Bennett's got to get Gardner out with the 2 with less than half a minute to go in half.
And you see Ellis trying to get in and box out. And only 1 hand in the back. Ooh, not sure on that one. Not a lot of contact on that play.
I think you are sure.
You see how I avoided that as well?
Here's Malik Williams on the high post. Davis back to Williams, rolling, left it short. And it'll stay right here with 5 seconds to go before the break. We have had some thrillers today in Brooklyn. This has not been a thrilling first half. As low scoring as it gets, pretty much, but at least very close. West looking to get it in. Does for Ellis, the jumper, and he airmailed that. 1.6 seconds to go and another foul.
And I'm sure about that one. There was contact on that possession. The offensive rebound off the air ball. Dre Davis has come in and done a tremendous job for the Cards. Had to mention he did not play yesterday. A sore ankle, but coming in and making his presence felt early in this game.
Solid foul shooter, 74%. So 1.6 seconds before halftime here at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And he gets the pair. So Louisville leads 24-20 and a timeout.
Tony Bennett will take his use it or lose it timeout to draw up something with 1.6.
Celebrate today.
Well, you know this about Virginia and Tony Bennett. They don't mind mucking it up.
Not at all. Again, it's simply about having at least one more point than the opponent when the game hits triple zeros at the end of the second half. And Tony Bennett has done that more than any ACC program over the last 10 years. And still trying to find a way to get that done here tonight.
In for Clark around midcourt, a heave at the horn, and got the iron, but did not get the basket. So that's how we are at halftime, 24-20. Louisville. ACC Tournament, round number 2. Hope you'll join us for the second half from Brooklyn coming up in a moment as we check in now with Dallin and Sean in the studio. Gentlemen.
Thanks, OB. Welcome into the halftime report.
Helped them unlock the door. He told them that their defense kept them in it in the first half. He was pleased with their connectedness. When they did lose connection, Louisville made them pay. So they've got to stick to that. And then on offense, take rhythm shots. He thought they forced them early on, but shoot with confidence. He liked their selection late in the half.
I don't know if I've ever seen or heard of anything like that before. Locked out of their own locker room for 5 minutes.
But where that throws you off is the fact that normally that's the time the coaches meet outside away from the team. And so therefore they don't have that opportunity to really get away from the team and have their conversation about what they want to get involved in the locker room. But you look at the first half, you have to embrace the pace as a Virginia fan. And they started out 2 of 18 from the floor, but 7 for 9 from the floor to finish the half.
Yeah, heated up a bit for sure. Malik Williams at the line to shoot 2. Yeah, too strong on number 1. Louisville at 13-18 during the regular season, went 6-14 in the ACC, but did defeat Georgia Tech 84-74 last night here. Williams comes up empty on the pair.
You mentioned Georgia Tech. Josh Pastner actually hanging around. The team has already gone back to Atlanta. Josh Pastner sticking around watching basketball, just being a basketball fan here, enjoying the ACC tournament in New York.
The kick to Gardner, and an excellent look there from short range, did not cash in. That's the way this game has been going for Virginia. West floats it up there, rebound tipped. Comes out high to Faulkner. Noah Locke.
Noah Locke's got a number of great looks here tonight, just unable to knock him down. And this could be a different game in Louisville's favor if he had been able to make some of those shots.
Shedrick really fighting hard there, and they thought that basket should count, and it will, because there was interference with it.
Yeah, you see Sidney Curry come over, and his hand comes up through the rim to stop that shot from going through, and Curry bent over, grabbing his face. Looks as though he took a shot to the face. But you see as Curry comes over to contest the shot, his hand comes up through the rim. That's goaltending and a bucket for Caden Shedrick.
He'll be at the line. He's a 72% foul shooter out of Holly Springs, North Carolina. Started about half the games. Those all came early in the season. Been coming off the bench since then. Had some really big games. Had a 13-rebound game against Miami, a 6-block game against Clemson.
Yeah, got to start tonight, though. Going back to Shedrick in the starting lineup after Francisco Cafaro had started the last 14 games. So, but Tony Bennett plays those guys for equal minutes and recognizes they both have their strengths.
1-point lead here for the Ville. So slowly, ever slowly, Tony Bennett's team has closed the gap.
Much love to our cameraman right in front of me. I thought I had a shot, Obi. I thought I was going to get my hands on the basketball, but did a great job protecting me from the ball on that possession.
36 and 34%. That's all for the shooting percentages. West trying to beat the horn. It never got to the iron. And a shot clock violation.
Yeah, the second shot clock violation of the game. Malik Williams is hurt. Now he's limping back down the floor, wincing in pain. Not sure what action he got involved in on the previous possession, but Ginger coming back down the floor.
But Virginia has not led in this game. Franklin hooks a pass. Back out for Gardner. Gardner will fire it, and it'll go. And finally they're in front.
And he is at his best in that spot. And Curry kicks the basketball away from West. A turnover for Virginia, giving him an opportunity to put 2 more on the board.
Clark feeding Beekman underneath, but he'll draw the foul and be at the line.
And that's going to be the 3rd foul on Sidney Curry, and that's a self-inflicted wound from Louisville. Just an unforced error. One teammate running into another, knocking the basketball away right into the hands of Kihei Clark.
Number 3 on the 6'8 junior.
Beekman at the line, shooting 2.
Beekman, very good foul shooter, makes 83%. Of course, he had the game-winning shot against Duke.
Also a game winner in the quarterfinals of last year's ACC tournament over Syracuse. Virginia was unable to play in the semifinal game after COVID outbreak amongst the team, but Reese Beekman sent them to the semifinals with a game winner in the quarter.
Also a superb passer. He had 11 assists in one of the games this season against Louisville. Corner jumper on the way, and that's around and out. Off the mark there by Faulkner, but they'll get it back. And a foul on Shedrick.
Malik Williams continuing to pursue the basketball on the offensive end. Putting the foul on Shedrick, and just like that, just to change over between the bigs. In comes 7'1" Francisco Cafaro, a.k.a. Poppy. And Poppy does not mind physical play in the paint.
Shedrick's 3rd foul, so he's out. Williams has been a little bit nicked up. See how he responds. Here's Noah Locke with a 3. Yes, sir. It really felt like the Cardinals desperately needed something to happen offensively, and they're tied at 27.
Well, you feel the tide changing where Virginia was starting to take over momentum and playing this game at their pace. So a big shot by Locke to tie it back up and give Louisville a little confidence in the offensive end.
Beekman pulling it back out. Now Gardner in the paint. Surrounded. Somehow got that pass downstairs, but taken away by the Ville.
That's been the struggle for Cafaro this year, handling the basketball, oftentimes getting his hands on it, but unable to secure it, and turning into turnovers for Virginia.
Clark goes down in the seat of his pants, got the pass away to Mason Faulkner, preventing a turnover. He'll drive it. He was stopped. Yeah, and a tie-up on the play, and it's going to go the other way.
Great job defensively by my pick for ACC Defensive Player of the Year, Reese Beekman, who continues to do the job, not only coming up with steals, but on the ball defense as well, forcing the jump ball and getting possession back for Virginia.
I thought that was a tough award to make a decision on.
I don't think it was as tough as everyone made it. I think they got it wrong.
Right. I had Window more. So I think it was a very difficult decision.
Well, the fact that you had Window more and two of the winner was Mark Williams, of course, of Duke, but you've got two great defenders on that team. I think that took away from each other, which is the reason why I thought Reese Beekman should have been the winner.
I think you might be right. Williamson with a misfire, tied at 27 in a very low-scoring game here tonight in Brooklyn. And another whistle off the ball and a foul. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is the closest for Virginia. He has 9 points.
And Virginia still yet to make a three-point field goal. They did that a couple weeks ago against Virginia Tech at Castle Coliseum, 0 for 9 for the game.
Beekman back to Clark. Shot clock at 14. No bounce here for Franklin. Shot clock now down to 3. Clark hangs and hits the shot.
Tough bucket, and you see these two guys going. That's good defense by Jared West, but great offense by Kihei Clark, especially with the shot clock going down.
He's 4 for 9. 9 points for Kihei. Williamson. Beekman got hit. He got knocked down.
But that was great recovery by Franklin to get back to knock.
Fall away by Locke and hits it. Boy, these two are making artwork of whittling that shot clock down to nothing and hitting it.
Well, that's what Virginia makes you do. You have to spend all of your time. You got to use the whole shot clock on offense and on defense. They make you play and go get it out of the mud, oftentimes wearing teams down.
One-hander by Franklin follows his own miss and knocked out a play by Louisville.
Tough shots at the end of the shot clock. Kihei Clark, as you see the shot clock going down, hanging in the air. Good defense over Jared West, but great offense. And same thing on the other end. Look at the shot clock. 1 second remaining with Noah Locke lets that one go, but knocks it down to tie the game at 29.
Well, you can count 4 or 5 times tonight. One side or the other has gotten it right down to 1 before they made the shot. 29-29.
Hey, let's go, Blake! Let's go!
And the officials holding up play for a moment.
Here we go.
And now back live. Gardner won't wait around, and nice touch to drain that one.
He is a mid-range killer. You think about the damage he does on the baselines and also at the free throw line, at the elbows, and a very soft touch, as you mentioned. Normally the ball just has to touch the rim and it's going to be good.
Clark thought he had a theft there. It's off his hands and out.
And that was just a miscommunication. It was 2 Virginia players, Cody Statman also in the area to come up with the steal, and those 2 guys running into each other, missing out on the opportunity.
Blocked, a little hesitation and a turnaround. Rebound picked off by Gardner. And here come the Cavaliers trying to get some separation. It's been impossible for either side to do that in this contest. Clark trying to penetrate, working on West. Good duel there, and he's going to leave that well short. And Louisville an opportunity to tie or take the lead.
No, there was not a point in this game I thought we were going to see Jared West and Kihei Clark going at it in the post, with the great hands from Clark coming up with the steal with a smart play, recognizing he did not have numbers, pulling back out and running offense.
Go to Gardner again, not this time. He gets him 15.7 rebounds a game. Nice job going left hand there by Ellis Ellis to drop in too.
Yeah, great adjustment in midair, and we've seen Reese Beekman come in and make plays defensively. That time, Ellis avoiding it with the left hand.
Yeah, Beekman's been making outstanding defensive plays all season. Williamson nearly lost that on the baseline, but he held on to it. Tied at 31.
If you're Louisville, this is the matchup you want to exploit. Ellis can be a big-time scorer. Difficult for Cody Statman to stay in front of him, but that time Ellis settles for the three. Win goes to Statman.
Winner taking on the 3 seed North Carolina. 9:30 tomorrow night right here in Brooklyn in the quarterfinals. Cafaro decides not to shoot her from 13 feet. Williamson very active defensively, slaps it away with 9 on the shot clock. Syracuse Orange were dynamic today. They just flew away Florida State 96-57 in the first game of the day. And they take on #1 seed Duke at noon tomorrow. Dan Shulman, Jay Billis, Holly Rowe will have the call as the day will get underway. And Corey and Dre and I will be with you tomorrow night for the night session. We are your night owls. Cafaro will get that one up and in.
And great hands by Cafaro, expecting and finishing off that play, but Virginia not getting back. And Samuel Williamson attacking. And that's something you don't see often, Virginia getting beat down the floor after a made field goal.
Tied at 33. We had 2 games go overtime today. Boston College an overtime win. Virginia Tech with a thriller in overtime. Won it at the buzzer of overtime. Darius Maddox with a huge shot.
And if this one goes to overtime, you're going to become OT-OB. And right now we see home court bounce for Jayden Gardner, taking it on the road here at Barclays Center.
Not personal.
Oh, no, it's definitely me.
Tied up 33 and a foul with 11:27 left.
You see Louisville coming out of the timeout, trying to go back into the post to Dre Davis. He was a difference maker for them in the first half when he got his opportunities on the block. And we mentioned Dre Davis playing with that sore ankle. You see him limping around, but when he gets the basketball on the block, he's still effective.
Slapped out a play by Virginia and Cafaro. Franklin picked up that foul a moment ago. And so Louisville to check it in from in front of their bench. And into the backcourt for the point guard West, who led Louisville with 20 points against NC State last night. Ellis into the paint, nowhere to go. Shot clock at 3. And that's going to spin on out with 1 on the shot clock, and they never got one up there. So a turnover as Williams continues to sit and watch.
But neither team really been able to separate from the other in this game. And right now you think of both these teams going out getting the job done defensively. And it starts out front with both Jared West and Kihei Clark setting the tone for their teams on the defensive end of the floor.
Gardner and Davis, a lot of pushing and shoving there, and they'll get Davis for that foul.
And again, a great job by official Lee Cassell coming over, having the conversation with Dre Davis. And that's one thing I can appreciate about all these ACC officials. They will talk to you. They'll give you the opportunity to explain your side, but you're still getting the foul.
You're getting the foul, but somehow you feel a little better about it. If someone's willing to explain it to you, that one will go right into Beekman's hands, and he will lay it right up and in.
Just the way Tony Bennett drew it up.
Exactly. Like to see that one in practice. Beekman 6 points. He's also dished out 6 assists, and a lot of whistles here suddenly at this stage of the game.
I love Jayden Gardner going over to Francisco Cafaro and telling him, calm down. Don't make it worse with the officials. Calm down, take your time, take a breath, because it was a foul. And at the end of the day, Curry has to have the opportunity to be able to catch the basketball. Cafaro fighting from behind with the contact.
In for Curry, working on Cafaro and tried the window at the hook. Tough rebound, Davis. That won't drop. The shooting percentages tonight will set no records. As Franklin goes up top and they feed inside Cafaro. They did everything right except make the shot.
Well, guy Carlos Boozer told me in the back, this is a first to 50 game, so whichever team can crack 50 first will be the winner.
Kick out, Williams back in. Nearly lost the dribble. Davis launches. Cafaro thought he had a rebound, knocked away from behind. A loose ball scooped up by Virginia. Clark will drive it. Can't make it. Beekman high up for the rebound and a whistle. Virginia on top by 2 with 9.5 to go. Davis will pick up his second foul. Look at this, Virginia under Tony, 106-2 and holding opponents under 50 points.
You know the most amazing stat up there is the fact that Virginia has held teams under 50 points 108 times.
That's right.
I mean, you think that's spectacular. You consider this is year 13 for Tony Bennett, and you've got 108 games where you've held teams under 50 points.
His first year, they went 15-16. He would build a national champion a decade later. They qualified for the NCAA tournament last year and trying to work some magic and get in again this year. Shot clock at 4. Back out high. Beekman got to get a shot in the air. Can't drain it. Davis pushing the tempo.
Right now, Curry has an advantage with Franklin behind him. Still with the advantage with Gardner guarding right now. There's going to be no double team. That's one Curry has to take advantage of.
Ellis airborne. And another foul. Seems to be a foul on virtually every shot. Everything contested, particularly in the lane. That'll be on Beekman, number 1.
Yeah, Beekman reaching in. Clarence Armstrong coming over, demonstrating there was a smack on the arm on the shot as Ellis was attacking the basket.
Ellis's dad, Albert Ellis, played in the NFL. He was a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers and for Carolina.
I can see that.
You definitely can.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about one of the most explosive athletes in the ACC when you think Ellis. He is an absolute showstopper in layup lines pregame. Whew. He puts on a show for real.
Junior from Durham, North Carolina, drains that. And back to 35-35, another tie. Not a whole lot of foul shots in the game. Not a whole lot of offense, at least not yet. Nine to shoot here for Virginia. Clark will fire it up there and knock it down.
I'll tell you what, the matchup between Kihei Clark and Jared West has been a fun one tonight. Seeing these two guards go at it, both seniors, a 5th year for Jared West. Kihei Clark at the end of his 4th year, and both these guys take the command of their respective teams.
Curry wants to work. Got that one to go. Sidney Curry with a bucket.
And you see the changeup. No double team on Curry on the block. Now Virginia going to play him man up with Cafaro guarding him on that end of the floor.
I'm going to reset the shot clock. 8:06 to go. And tied at 37.
Shot clock at 29 seconds.
Armon Franklin has trouble beyond that three-point line, only 27%. Clark's a bit of a hot hand here in the second half. Franklin taking a look at that shot clock. It's at 5. The shot won't drop. Again, that's been a struggle for him all season long.
And Malik Williams, once again, Gimpy running down the floor. They did a great job keeping Gardner on his back, not allowing the offensive rebound.
Well, it's wanted to go one-on-one. He commits an offensive foul, though. Tried to take it right at Statman, but he commits the foul. Tied at 37. This is the moment of the tournament so far. For the Hokies, Darius Maddox for the win at the buzzer in overtime tonight. Certainly, Dre, that is absolutely true. Gardner gave it up. Just about 7 minutes to go here, and we headed to another overtime. Clark was able to tiptoe right at midcourt.
Mike McGee's in a full-out lunge trying to get the call from Bert Smith. On that one, Bert Smith standing right at the half-court line on top of it, and it ends up being a big possession for Virginia. Kihei Clark knocking down the three.
Two-pointer there. 39-37.
Who's on the line?
Yes.
Kihei's feet aren't big enough to be on the line. How did that happen?
I'm not sure, but they certainly were. They gave him 2. And Louisville's 2 for 16 from 3, and that was the first one Virginia's hit today. As Louisville gets inside and ties the game at 39. Williams with 6 points, 11 rebounds, despite the fact he's been ailing at times. Clark's been the hot hand. 2 men take a tumble. 6 to get off the shot. Gardner trying to get it inside that paint, then another foul. It was with 3 to shoot.
Yeah, when the 2 men went down, Jared West took the worst of that, which the matchup between he and Cedric. You see both players hit the ground, but West comes up limping. And that's not in his favor when you've got to go out and defend Kihei Clark. You need to be at your best moving your feet.
So Shedrick at the line and shooting a 1-and-1 with 5:58 to go. And a 72% shooter misfiring on the first one.
That wasn't a confident free throw. We've seen Caden Shedrick go out and go 10 for 10 in the game this season. They're not confident at the line on that possession.
Bird gives it up for Locke. They zip the pass for Williamson. It's a slip move on the baseline. It's the deck. Curry went to the dunk and came up empty. So we remain locked at 39. Kihei on the drive and a sweet shot to put Virginia in front. So now the Cardinals looking for an answer. West was that guy last night against NC State with 20 points. 5 on the shot clock. Williams will lift and hit it a 3.
Back and forth. Seniors making plays. Kihei Clark on one end, Malik Williams on the other end. Guys who could be playing their last ACC tournament game, not wanting it to go in the favor of the other team.
42-41 the Bills. Slick pass. Shedrick not quite ready for that, but a whistle. 4:23 showing. So on Williams, that'll be number 3 on Malik Williams. And we'll put Shedrick at the line. Well, big sophomore had 20 against Louisville, a career high last Saturday.
He's really had a breakout season. More importantly, staying healthy, staying on the floor. Caden Shedrick has become a large part of what Virginia has done this year, and a young man who's going to continue to get better and better as his career at Virginia goes along.
Well, Cavaliers up by 1.
We talked about the matchup between West and Clark, but you see Kihei Clark can put a little more pressure on Faulkner, and just like that, he steps up and makes another huge play. Obi, I've been watching Virginia basketball since 1979. Ralph Sampson's my favorite ever player. This guy right here wearing number 0, he might be second. Just smart basketball. Kihei Clark, he's pestered Faulkner enough to know Faulkner's going to try to bully, and takes the fall, picks up the foul.
4 minutes to go. Williams, Faulkner, West, and Curry for Louisville, all with 3 personals. Gardner trying the baseline, and he just lost control of it. It's back over to the Cardinals. In a 1-point game, down the stretch we come. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life, helping people act on their love for over 175 years.
Clark has been the guy to the rescue, and he's done just that here this evening. 15 points for Clark, and he's done it in every fashion possible. Attacking the basket, the pull-up jump shot, shooting the basketball off the bounce, and going amongst the trees to finish it off. And because of Kihei Clark's production, Virginia holds a 1-point lead.
15 points for him. And 7 out of 14. He has not made a 3. Nobody on the Virginia side has. They are 0 for 6 there.
But look at this, Obi. You're talking about already having played 36 minutes, and he's still pressuring 94 feet, leading the way for Virginia defensively as well.
Williams shot clock at 4. And Beekman high up for the rebound. So Virginia looking to add to a 1-point advantage, coming up on 3 minutes to go. Shooting 44%, which is a big improvement from how they started the game. Gardner on the attack, will lay it in. Jayden Gardner, big bucket.
Strong attack by Jayden Gardner. Didn't go looking for a call, went looking for a bucket, and that's exactly what he came away with.
So the Cardinals need an answer. Time running down. Up top, it's locked. He launches around and out. Big swat there by Shedrick. Statman will run that down. And Virginia takes over up by 3. Big time defense. Beekman through the lane. Whittling that clock down close to 2 minutes. Shedrick has it knocked away.
Great hands by Malik Williams on that possession, saving a bucket from Louisville. And Shedrick was about to do damage to the rim.
Lock again. Got that one. Big time 3 to tie the game at 45.
And a short closeout by Cody Statman. You have to recognize who Noah Locke is. Run him off the 3-point line. You can't close out short on that.
Minute and a half to go. Here's Gardner. He buries a 2-pointer.
Great action for Virginia, getting Jayden Gardner, their best scorer, the basketball in his sweet spot and allowing him to do the rest.
Again, 2 overtime games already today in the ACC Tournament. Out of the double team, it gets to West. Locke just hit that big time 3. Here's West way downtown. Rebound slapped away by Williams. It'll go back over to Virginia. They lead it 47-45. 59 seconds to go.
And right now, you can look at the body language, the facial expression of these two teams are gassed, Obi. Great timeout.
We've got a timeout. 47-45, Virginia.
And then Reese Beekman, the ACC's leader in steals, coming up with the steal and going down for 2 points on the other end. Then you see Reese Beekman locking down defensively, 36 feet away from the basket, doing a great job getting back in front of Mason Faulkner and tying up the basketball, regaining possession for Virginia. Part of the reason why I felt like Reese Beekman, because of his on-ball defense and his steals, should have been the ACC's most defensive player of the year.
Well, he's got the ball now. Virginia up 2. And 45 seconds to play. He'll drive it all the way through and lays it in. Boy, it opened up for him, and he burned everybody.
That was called misdirection. The screening action on the other side of the floor, the right side, had Louisville thinking that Virginia was going to go to Cody Statman, and it was simply all misdirection. The play was designed the entire time for Reese Beekman to take it to the bucket and get a basket, and Reese has done it before, made big plays in the ACC tournament. Last year as a freshman, the walk-off, knocking down the 3. This year against Duke, the underneath out-of-bounds play. Reese Beekman coming up, draining the 3, giving Virginia the win at Cameron Indoor Stadium, and making a huge play here tonight to make it a 2-possession game for the Hoos.
So you want to have at least one of those guys on your team, right, who wants the ball in the end in a clutch spot like this.
Well, and you see Noah Locke not even expecting Beekman to drive the basketball. And, of course, Jared West can't help on that possession because he's guarding Kihei Clark in the corner. You don't help off ball side. So it gave Beekman a straight run. But the screening action on the opposite side gave them an opportunity to keep those bigs out of the paint.
Every bucket in a game like this just gigantic. 30 seconds to go. Locke went up and traveled with it. He turned it over. And how about the defense?
I'm calling it. The ACC's Defensive Player of the Year was guarding Reese Beekman, coming off regardless of whether he got the award or not. He continues to make plays on both ends of the floor at crunch time for this Virginia team to win games.
Sure is. Cavaliers get it back up 49-45. They'll try and run down Beekman here, but he beats everybody. And it's going to be tapped out of play off Curry of the Cardinals with 20 seconds to go.
And the officials are going to review that to make sure they got the call right. Beekman beat the pressure, but a risky pass on that possession. Maybe one he should have dribbled out, forced Louisville to foul him and put him on the free throw line.
Well, a low-scoring affair if ever there was one. And the possession right now will be under official review. Virginia trying to move on to the quarterfinals. The winner gets North Carolina, the 3 seed, at 9:30 tomorrow night. And the quarterfinals here in Brooklyn. Take another look.
And you see once again Beekman just getting there, knowing Noah Locke is a shooter, running him off the three-point line. Locke recognizing he's not open, forcing the turnover as Noah Locke turns down the shot.
Question here is who touched it last on the other end.
And I tell you what, we got to give a shout out to our guys. We've had 2 great officiating crews in our night games tonight. Give these guys props when they deserve them. Make sure they see their flowers.
Bert Smith, Lee Cassell, and Clarence Armstrong.
And as you see that possession, I'm not sure if Sidney Curry touched it prior. But if he didn't touch it prior, and that's only coming off of Reese Beekman's hand, that's actually going to go back to Louisville. You see Beekman makes the pass. Curry does get a hand on the basketball. You see it change direction. Now does Gardner touch it? It doesn't look like Gardner touches it. The basketball did not change direction.
I know they're going to take a very, very hard look. Obviously went off Curry. You can see that with the left hand. The question is, was there another deflection?
It was shielded by the basket. We can't tell if Gardner hit it or not because we got the best truck in the world. Can we go back to the second view that we saw to see once again if it did touch Jayden Gardner's finger going out of bounds? Lee Cassell right on top of it. We see it changes direction here with Curry. So Curry does touch it, but does Gardner touch it? It does. Gardner does touch the basketball. It goes directly to the floor. And that is actually going to go to Louisville. I tell you what, whose truck is better than ours? Come on, man. Great shots from our group. And I believe that is going to go back to Louisville.
And indeed it will. That is the ruling. Last touch by Gardner. And the Cardinals will have the basketball, 20 seconds to go. Down 49-45. West across midcourt. And a foul by Clark. Stops it at 14.8. No basket there.
But because Virginia is one of the fewest fouling teams in the country, Louisville not in the bonus. So smart play right there. Fouls to give for Virginia. Taking that one, eating up time on the clock from the Cards.
West will heave a three. Well short. Caught by Curry. Can't lay it in. Time running out. Tough defense. They make the basket with 4.7 to go.
Tell you what, there's a lot of contact on that possession. Caden Shedrick coming up with a big block shot, but both Sidney Curry and Malik Williams needing a second as Curry stays down.
And Louisville will take a timeout with the score 49-47.
His body's flying everywhere. Now Curry misses a wide open layup, and then you see Shedrick come over. That's a clean block, but you see Curry is actually the initiator of the contact. That left arm reaches out and grabs Shedrick, knocking him down, and both players falling back into Malik Williams.
Well, everybody up and back to their huddles with under 5 seconds to go. And Virginia will have the basketball up by 2. And a timeout. Second round game here in the ACC Tournament. Boston College won earlier today in overtime, upsetting the 5-seed Wake Forest. BC the number 13. So they take on Miami tomorrow in the quarterfinals. And a thriller as Virginia Tech pulled it out in overtime at the buzzer on a three-pointer over Clemson today. And they have Notre Dame coming up. That'll be at 7 o'clock on ESPN2 tomorrow night.
And the winner of this one will take on a confident North Carolina team coming off a big win on Saturday against the rival Blue Devils.
All getting underway to quarterfinal round at noon tomorrow on ESPN. Meanwhile, Virginia has to get it in with under 5. And a quick whistle, 4.2 to go. On a foul.
Number 10, Samuel Williamson.
So that'll go on Williamson. And a half second went off the clock. And Gardner to the stripe.
Double bonus for Virginia. So 2 shots for Gardner regardless.
He makes 81%. 1 for 2 today and 6 that one.
Confident going to the line, and of course Jayden Gardner makes shot after shot at the free throw line, and you see the dejection on Sidney Curry's face.
To make it a 4-point game with 4.2 to go. And he gets it. And Virginia on top 51-47 to heave by Ellis. He makes the shot.
But point one, not enough time to be able to do anything with it. So as soon as the ball is touched, the game is over.
And it is.
Virginia advances.
Virginia wins it 51-50 on a low-scoring tussle. Certainly the kind of game Virginia wanted. They got it. And they move on to the quarterfinals. The Virginia Cavaliers with a win here tonight.